Hi there, you're listening to Unnatural Selection, the show about newsy type stuff and things. My name is George.
My name is Tom.
And my name is Adam.
And with our powers combined, we are all of Unnatural Selection. Make sure you visit us at our salubrious home on the web, unnaturalshow.com.
George is back.
Yay!
Which presumably also means we're streaming on Twitch right now.
Yes.
Because he can access that shit. And we can't, and we're going to have some very serious business meetings after this now to sort out how the fuck we do any of this in George's absence.
I love that
George dies, the show dies. That's basically what happens.
You've made yourself indispensable. You're kind of like me at my job. I've made sure I'm the only person who knows how to do certain things, because then you can't get rid of me. Can't get rid of me, can you?
We need a BCP, a business continuity procedure.
Okay,
and,
a few things. I love
nerd.
I love that you think this is a business, because all we've ever done is lost money doing this in hosting and website fees.
Hey, if it works for Netflix for such a long time to just be working at a loss constantly, I think it can work for us.
We're blitzscaling.
And we don't have any
mindset.
we don't have heaps of a gajillion hours of transphobic comedians. And so I think if it works for them, it can work for us.
Bill Burr's new special, you can't bloody say anything anymore. New to Netflix. It's
Bill Burr one of them? That wasn't the name I was going to jump to, but okay, great.
I watched his newest special, and he had a chunk on abortion, which was kind of like a bit, I don't know, Bill. I think you're on the wrong. Like, he's famous for
being edgy.
Yeah, being a edgy sort of shitlord. Normally it's hilarious when he does it. This one was a little bit questionable. Recently Ricky Gervais had a big chunk in his previous special that came out a couple of weeks ago, which was just a little bit transphobic.
That's all I've seen of it. I haven't seen the rest of it, and I was like, that's very transphobic.
When he got off the transphobe stuff, it was pretty good. But the rest of it was just I don't know why you're a millionaire, Ricky. You don't need to be talking about this. There's other.
Yeah.
I don't think this is really bothering you at all.
Why can't you keep your shitty opinions to yourself?
It's just the era of just transphobic comedians on Netflix. You're right. So
a pandemic on. There's other things you can.
There's other things, right? Yeah. But no, people with different bits are using the same bathroom. Whoa.
Yeah.
I went to the Malthouse Theatre maybe a month ago, which is
okay,
here in Melbourne.
Cultured. You're better than us, George. We get it.
I know.
They have non-gendered bathrooms now.
They have non-gendered bathrooms, and I walked in, and I guess I missed the sign, but I was just I walked in, and there was a woman in there. I sort of looked around. I was like, oh no, there's urinals. I'm in the right place. And you know what? It was not a big fucking deal at all. I just went to the bathroom, washed my hands, left. It was just a moment of and then it was over. That was the end of it. It was just
then it was done.
That's the issue that everyone's been fighting about. Okay.
Your PP, George?
What about my PP?
Was she looking at your PP?
Sadly not.
Were people looking at your PP?
I mean, no, and I was showing it to anyone who would look, but no, they just weren't interested.
I'm just going to keep saying the word PP constantly.
And probably no more than anyone would be standing at a urinal with a line of other people using the urinal, right?
Yeah, there's a weird bro code, which it's the urinal code. I actually don't know what the real name for it is, but it's the don't look down look, basically. You've heard of the movie Don't Look Up? Don't look down.
I think I'd just call it basic human politeness. But anyway, so
madness reigns. These crazy lefties taking over the world. What in the bathrooms? What are we going to do?
Fuck, absolute madness. Being nice to each other. Fuck.
It's bro, your own wife doesn't want to look at your cock. You really think you really think someone in a bathroom wants to look at your pathetic, shriveled, fucking sour yam-looking dick? No one wants to see that.
A soft brown banana.
All right, we are less than 5 minutes in, and George has already described a soft yam dick. Wow,
so
that's wild.
We are, in fact, a show about newsy type stuff and things.
We are.
Occasional dick joke, as you've just picked that up. And we weren't here last week. We couldn't get our chakras aligned or whatever the...
Schedules were fucked. No access to different various things.
Oh, the Twitch thing. Can I just say, it's just two-factor authentication on my phone. So, all you need to do is tell me when you want to log in, and then I'll give you the code. It's it's not rocket science.
In Europe, though.
Yes. If you're asleep on the other side of the world, that's a little bit problematic. Anyway, we missed out last week So we were just going to maybe just casually mention a few of the things we were going to be talking about last week, because there was some cool, crazy, spicy stuff. But, the world being the world.
Run of the last week. That's what we're going to do.
The world being the world and the world being garbage, there's also equally as spicy stuff this week. So we can't really just do last week's shows this week because there's more shit to talk about. But, I guess we could rush through these in order. We were going to talk about the new photos from space. New photos came out.
James Webb telescope.
New galaxy just dropped. Actually, it's the old galaxy. We just can see it better now. Mm-hmm. And it was fucking awesome. That was just some good news out of this past week. I don't know about you guys, but I just had a raging brainer for the entire time looking at these pictures, being like, do you realize what we're looking at? That's not motion blur. That's gravity warping light. That's so cool, man.
13.5 billion years?
Yeah. We just looked 13 billion years into the past. You all time traveled staring at your phones. Be more impressed.
Yes, that's probably the big thing I would take out of that is the news were like, look at these pictures, and everyone was like, space.
Oh, neat. Like, wow, that's a pretty picture. That'll make a good desktop background. That desktop background's like fucking the beginning of time.
The picture that launched 1,000 desktop background changes. Every astronomer was just like, and set as wallpaper. Thank you very much.
Just especially if you like me, because people looked at these pictures on Twitter, but I always know whenever I see these pictures, go to the NASA website, click the little link that says full resolution. You'll be getting a picture that's like hundreds of megabytes in size, but it means you can just click the zoom part, and those tiny little things that look like stars, they have actually captured the detail that they look like a galaxy, because they are a fucking galaxy. And it's so cool. And the one that's like the cliffs, the one that they call them the cliffs. I forget what the actual name of it is, but it kind of looks like a mountain range. That it's actually like dust. That's not like rock or anything. That's all like dust that's been flipped on its side. That is from a larger picture that they also had, and that larger picture is 16 light years wide. You know how big that is? That's insane. And also, what that's a picture of, those dust clouds, that's where stars are born. You are seeing stars being built. Why isn't anyone more excited? Why aren't you guys matching this energy?
There's a new season of Keeping Up with the Kardashians coming out.
Oh, nice.
Another way that stars are formed these days.
Dynamic works.
Stars nowadays are formed on Bravo. So.
I mean, you know what? As a complete sidebar, I think the only thing that would make me watch any of Keeping Up with the Kardashians is seeing this crazy feud between Pete Davidson and Kanye West post the split, and now Pete Davidson dating Kim Kardashian, because Kanye threatens him, Pete Davidson gets his kids' names tattooed on his neck. I've heard all this crazy shit coming out of there. That's some spicy bullshit, and why you love to see it. But anyway, the beginning of time is on film.
It is interesting that you're like, why are we getting distracted with all this pop culture nonsense? Tom proceeds to
get distracted
by pop culture nonsense.
Absolutely right. That's why
you interrupted yourself with a whole new tangent.
That's indeed. But my kind of pop culture nonsense most of the time is usually about shit like time travel and astrophysics. So I like to at least combine it together.
We get it, Tom. You're smart. You read books. We get it.
He's a smart man. But look, what we all need is actually to watch some sport. Okay, sport is the great unifier amongst cultures and people, including cricket, as it were.
Yep, there it is. No, Adam's a professional, and it's a segue. No, I get it.
Yeah, you didn't see that segue coming a mile away, George. The rundown's in front of you.
Yeah, no, that's true. We
literally talked about it half an hour ago that we were going to. So. There was now a fake cricket league in India where they were trying to basically scam a bunch of Russian punters, Russian gamblers.
Trying to and did so successfully. Yeah, succeeded in. And it's like, I feel as though of the people that you are allowed to sort of scam in this world, like Russian oligarchs, that's right up on that list. Like
the ethical implications to it are pretty much there are no ethical implications. Keep doing it as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, the only other person
Yeah.
The only other person above Russian oligarchs on that list is like Henry Kissinger. Like there's like he's the only other person who I would happily, when I heard he lost a bunch of money in that blood, what was that? The dropout, Theranos. He lost a bunch of money in that Theranos scam. I was like, well, couldn't have happened to a nicer war criminal. That's it's a real shame that Henry Kissinger lost out on that money. That's a shame.
But this hoax cricket league, they basically were pretending to be the IPL, the Indian Premier League. They got a bunch of their Guernseys, and they had, can I say, reasonably high production values. So they even got in a fake commentator to commentate over the happenings, and the umpire was hooked up via cam, and when the bets were coming in, if they needed someone to hit a six, he'd like signal for the guy to hit a six, and then they'd hit a six, and away we go. So that's been all shut down now, unfortunately.
I mean, I can't buy. I'm not surprised they have high production values. I think you'd put a lot of effort if you're like, hey, we can scam a lot of money out of these really rich Russians.
Yeah.
You'd be like, all right, well, I won't just fucking bash this out on a Sunday afternoon and just email it to my boss. No, I'll actually put some time and effort into this.
Yeah, let's get the good GoPros out for this one, for sure.
Yeah, let's make sure this is all realistic. But that's just, it's wild. I mean, of all the schemes that have been coming out over the past couple of years to completely falsify a cricket league purely to, it's like, I've seen a movie that's essentially that premise of just like, no, this isn't the actual, it was a reality TV show in that context rather than a sports league.
What was this movie?
It's called My Little Eye. It's the very first film I ever saw Bradley Cooper in, because it was before Bradley Cooper was famous. He just had a bit part in it. I've essentially spoilt the ending now, but essentially a bunch of people in a reality TV show a la Big Brother, where they just live in a house that's isolated, and if they can make it 6 months living there, they each get $1 million. But weird shit starts happening to them, and like it starts getting violent, and they discover it's because no, this isn't a web reality TV show that everyone's watching and they're not famous. Like 10 people are betting on which ones of you will die first.
Oh, it's Squid Game.
And this is purely faked for specifically these people, rather than, as they were told, televised around the world.
Sadly, with these Big Brother houses,
spoiled it for you. Don't bother watching.
Sadly, with these Big Brother houses, in actual fact, none of them are murdered. Sadly, but
no. So yeah, it at least took that extra step to make it a little bit interesting. No, please, Channel 10, do not start deciding to murder Big Brother contestants. Murder is bad. We all know this.
For legal reasons, murder is obviously bad.
Yes, indeed. But yeah, so
bad. Keep moving, boys. Keep moving.
Keep moving. Adam's
moving. Next
Adam's on the case.
Sri Lankan society is collapsing.
Real taskmaster, aren't you, today?
Yep. No, just keep on the rundown, boys. Sri Lankan society is collapsing. They have a new president that's just been sworn in, or being in the process of being sworn in, who's actually just the old prime minister. Anyway, there's like a couple of guys.
Hang on, what? The old prime minister is now the new president? I thought after the riot that we talked about a few weeks ago, both of them were resigning, president and prime minister.
For whatever reason, I mean, it might be the guy who was the interim prime minister, who's now also the president. I don't know. Anyway, the point being is everyone's churning and burning at the top level.
What you want when the country's falling apart due to grand scale theft is that you want to put the people that were in charge of that into new positions of power in order to help restore the economy. So
the president will not be there. He resigned via email after fleeing to Singapore.
Bro, you can't break up with me via text. Bro, it's kind of a face-to-face situation.
There are a lot of things you can break up via text. I mean, they're dick moves, most of them, but breaking up with a long-term partner via text is bad. Like resigning from your job via text is generally pretty bad. You shouldn't be allowed to do it as president. You can't just be like, boy.
My notice period is 1 month, and I sell software. So, you know what I mean? Like, you're the president of the country, and you could just be like, "Poos."
Bye.
See ya.
Yeah.
The old Prime Minister, Ranil Wickremesinghe. I should have read that.
All you need to do is say it wrong, but with a lot of confidence.
Yep.
That's the key.
Wickremesinghe. No, okay. I'm really
the
sorry.
The more you try and do it, the more racist it gets. So.
Yeah, I'm just going to leave it. The new Prime Minister has actually been sworn in now as the new president. So and he's declared like a bunch of new state of emergency and other different things to try and stop the riots. But anyway.
In all seriousness.
I don't envy them that.
Like when your inflation is whatever it is, like 100% year on year, and like the country's in an economic spiral. Like, yes, part of that is just profound neglect and also like straight up theft out of the economy. But some of it is just like the prevailing economic conditions which everyone is going through in the world. And also like, there was other things, how they switched the economy to completely organic farming a couple of years ago. And that's like collapsed their agriculture industry because they didn't plan it out well. And like, there's all of these things. It's like, okay, even if you get a new person in here, like what the fuck are they going to do? It's not going to fix this situation. No. Like it's not going to.
Foreign currency reserves are nil.
Like, it's like the country is a bit balked at the moment, and having a new head of state is unlikely to help that. So I don't know. What do you do in that situation?
Changes of power happen.
I suppose what you do if you don't like the head of state is you could just take a leaf out of the US's book and just have a coup.
Oh yes, I'm all about your segue.
As we segueing to the next story there. So as we all know, January 6th, 2021 was an eventful day, where, a bunch of armed people tried to, had an insurrection, just a casual little insurrection on a Saturday. Was it a Saturday? I don't remember. But tried to overthrow democracy and stop the certification of the 2020 election results that showed that Donald Trump lost to Joe Biden. Anyway, so there's been lots of hearings and committees and everything after all that, where people have been talking about it as a coup attempt, effectively. But one person, the king of mustaches and former member of the Trump administration, John Bolton, who is one of the people from the Trump administration, who jumped ship, wasn't as forthcoming maybe with all the questioning and all that afterwards as they could be, so they could write a sick book that everyone would want to read just to get the spicy takes and all the little juicy details.
I can't think of anything more disgusting than being a conscientious objector to the Trump administration and then like holding all of that critical information back for a year so you can get a sweet publishing deal on it. Like it's legitimately like when people talk about like the deep state, these are the guys they're talking about. There's these people with these strong mustaches who like plan coups in smoke-filled back rooms. Like this is the guy that they're talking about. Like,
well, yeah, and literally in this point,
and then CNN's like, let's get him on.
Yeah, the story about
let's
this
hear him out.
CNN host Jake Tapper sat down with John Bolton recently to be discussing the January 6 hearings.
Let's see what insider government shill piece of shit John Bolton has to say about it. Piece of shit John Bolton.
And the question they were just talking about it as a coup attempt. And John Bolton was saying, no, this isn't a coup attempt because coup attempts take a lot of planning and a lot of effort. This is too bumbling and incompetent to be a coup attempt. To which Jake Tapper said, one doesn't have to be brilliant to attempt a coup. John Bolton replied, do you have the clip?
Yeah, I've got the clip.
Play the clip. Sorry, I didn't realize you had it keyed up.
All right, let's go. So I'm going to share my screen, and I'm going to go over here. We're going to go live, and then we're going to.
It's even better when you explain.
Not heed the advice and keep shopping around until you end up with this group of misfits with like Michael Flynn and Sidney Powell. Is he just not capable of hearing no?
Well, when it comes to his personal advantage, the answer is he doesn't listen to anybody else. But I think it's also important to understand, while nothing Donald Trump did after the election in connection with the lie about the election fraud, none of it is defensible. None of it is defensible. It's also a mistake, as some people have said, including on the committee, the commentators, that somehow this was a carefully planned coup d'etat aimed at the Constitution. That's not the way Donald Trump does things. It's rambling from one half-vast idea to another, one plan that falls through and another comes up. That's what he was doing. As I say, none of it defensible. But you have to understand the nature of what the problem of Donald Trump is. He's, to use a Star Wars metaphor, a disturbance in the force. And it's not an attack on our democracy. It's Donald Trump looking out for Donald Trump. It's a once-in-a-lifetime occurrence.
I don't know that I agree with you. To be fair, with all due respect, one doesn't have to be brilliant to attempt a coup.
I disagree with that. As somebody who has helped plan coup d'etat, not here, but other places, it takes a lot of work, and that's not what he did. It was just stumbling around from one idea to another.
Okay, stop. So it's just like, you don't have to be brilliant to plan coups. Trust me, I planned a bunch of coups, and they were brilliant.
Yeah, I've planned coups. Coups take work.
Yeah,
come on. I stayed up really late.
This is the problem that this guy has with the Trump administration is they didn't work hard enough at overthrowing democracy. You got to plan. You got to create a list. Yeah. You got to really get shit done. Okay, you got to have a Trello board. Okay, this motherfucker just think coups just happen. I just woke up like this. No, you got to work at it, mate.
I was pulling 100-hour weeks to get some coups over the line.
Those guys who did the failed coup in Venezuela worked really hard at it.
Well, he mentions it.
More of the clip? Yeah, play the rest.
Let's keep going. It's pretty wild. I was watching this live, by the way. I was on holidays in Greece for I had a work thing over in the UK, and then I was in Greece for a holiday afterwards. And I was sitting there in the hotel, just like sunbaked out of my mind, and just like watching CNN. I saw this live, and I'm just like, have I got heat stroke? Did John Bolton just admit to planning coups on live television? Like, what the fuck just happened? Anyway, so here's more of John Bolton saying some bullshit.
Ultimately, he did unleash the rioters at the Capitol. As to that, there's no doubt. But not to overthrow the Constitution, to buy more time to throw the matter back to the states to try and redo the issue. And if you don't believe that, you're going to overreact. And I think that's a real risk for the committee, which has done a lot of good work, mostly when the witnesses testify, not when the members are opining. It is invariably the case that when you go too far trying to prove your case, you undermine it. And I think you got to give credit to the intelligence of the American people to listen to the witnesses and let them come to the conclusion. And I think the fellow who had actually gone into the Capitol, who said today that he had blinders on and he was too loyal to one person, that is the central point.
Yeah, no, it's something, and it was, as I think Laura Coates said, or somebody said earlier, an offering for a lot of.
Yeah, anyway, so he goes on to mention like Venezuela specifically, and then Jake Tapper goes and says, it kind of feels like there's more you're not telling me. And John Bolton goes, I'm sure there is. It's like basically admitting that, like, yeah, we've probably, like, this is the one, Venezuela is the one that we could talk about, kind of. We didn't really have much to do with that, which suggests you had something to do with it.
Yeah, I love the quote here in the article is that, that Bolton just says, I'm not going to go into specifics. And Jake Tapper's like, successful coups? And he says, well, I wrote about Venezuela in the book, and it turned out to not be successful. So, holy shit. Like,
he's not right about Donald Trump's behavior, I think.
Sorry. Can I just say, John Bolton, completely fucking wrong, okay? There's never been a wronger person than John fucking Bolton about everything from the Iraq War, Afghanistan. This is the guy who's been at the head or near the head of all of America's failed foreign policy decisions for the last 2 fucking decades, going, oh, no, but when the people broke in with nooses trying to hang Mike Pence at the direction of Donald Trump, who sent them in that direction, that wasn't planned. That wasn't all. Meanwhile, all the January 6 hearings up until and then after this point have basically said, no, Donald Trump was more or less directing the people and they were taking his direction. Like, it may have been planned poorly, but it was planned. Like, he could not be more
6 months in advance, was it? That's kind of John
we're talking weeks in advance. Yeah, where there were Trump Hotel became basically a nerve center where people, Rudy Giuliani and all these like criminal fuckheads were making calls. Yeah, all the team. There's Team Normal and Team Crazy within the Trump administration, as everyone was calling them. Like, one half was like, no, we're overthrowing democracy. This is bad. And the other side was like, pick up the phone, mate. Smile and dial. Got to fucking get out there, mate. Smash some calls. Get out there, make some sales, overthrow democracy.
That's what was wild, I think, is since this last week when we were going to talk about this initially, there's been more stuff from the hearings have come out, and there were people who, so the last hearing, I think it happened just the other day, was talking about, what were Donald Trump's actions in the 6 hours where there's no records?
Right.
And from all the witnesses, were people who were in the room and everything and one of them was that he tweeted out at one point when they were begging Trump to post a tweet or a message or something telling the violent mob to stop. Yeah. And he tweeted, and his half-hearted attempt at doing it involved him saying, Mike Pence has failed us and doesn't have the courage or something like that. Just further fuel to the fire. And there were people who the moment I read that tweet, I resigned. And as a lot of comedians who talk about this news have pointed out, have said, wait. I love it that you thought he was a totally normal, reasonable administration to be in up until January 6th, 2021. All the other shit.
From 2015, Mexicans are rapists up until January 6th. Everything
insurrection.
Perfect calls. Perfect calls to Ukraine, where you're trying to smear you're holding over military military aid to Zelensky, in advance of a Russian invasion, in order to smear your political opponent, Joe Biden. Everything up until the circling of saying it was going to nuke hurricanes, all that was perfect. Everything nailed it up until this one point, and they're just whoa, hey.
Yeah, because really all they did.
Come on.
Because really all they're doing at that point, you're resigning a couple of weeks early. Because come January 20, you don't have your job anymore anyhow. Yeah. So, you don't get the gold medal, friend.
Yeah.
So, anyway, that's insane. Just outright admitting that he's been involved in coups, and
I don't know if
that's just fine, apparently.
I don't know if you saw this. There was some footage that came out just recently of, Trump basically rehearsing his address to the nation to be hey, guys, go home. And he's no, I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say they've done crimes. I've already said they will be punished. I'm not going to basically sort of you see the outtakes of him trying to soften the language.
Yeah, he's
to make it not sound as bad for the insurrectionists.
It was a 4-hour shoot or something for what was a 10-minute
address.
Because he Trump somehow had the cognitive ability to be conscious of wanting to say it but not say it, rather than just saying it. In the past, he's just said it. He's just said what he thinks. But now he's no, I want to make sure that my supporters know I don't think they're criminals and I love them, but I also don't want to say they're not criminals.
Yeah, no, he was very conscious. Pat Cipollone and people like that were giving him advice to be you're going to be charged with all the crimes. I think that was near a direct quote. All of the crimes imaginable, something like that. It's he's basically knowing he's trying to phrase it in such a way as to get the message out, but also avoid jail time. It could not have been
with this committee is that it can't actually do anything. It can make recommendations to the Justice Department,
but having said that, Merrick Garland was recently on the stand somewhere at some sort of committee hearing, and they're oh, do you think, the president's above the law? And he's nobody's above the law. And they're but the president, and he kind of he kind of gives bitch please. And he's I said, no one's above the law. So it's and all of the language that, what's her name? The Republican woman on the committee,
Liz Cheney.
Yes, Dick Cheney's daughter.
She's the chair as well, isn't she?
Well, that's one thing they've done really well, from what I can see, is that they've basically all of the people that are talking, most of the time, are Republicans, and it seems to have swayed a decent amount of the electorate as to Trump's guilt in the matter. It's
the thing, though,
it's definitely affected my opinion, and I already thought he was a guilty piece of shit to begin with. So, will
that sway the primaries though? Because the primaries aren't voted on.
Well, that's what they're betting on.
Whoever can
all of the polling suggests that it was the House race, the midterms coming up, was going to be a complete wash for the Democrats. They're about to get stooged. Since these hearings have been going and going, it's gotten tighter. And so it doesn't seem as though it's going to be the slam dunk that the Republicans thought it was going to be. So if that is their strategy, which I think it is, probably why they delayed the hearings until, June, July, is to have that in the mind of voters leading up to the midterms. It's not going to be, it's not going to be a wipeout, but it's still going to be really tight. The fact is, Democrats don't have a lot to run on. The economy's in shambles, inflation's high. Like, Joe Biden recently fist bumped Mohammed bin Salman. He was over there trying to get them to pump some more oil and get that going, and then he like fist bumped the guy who murdered, who ordered the murder of Jamal Khashoggi, and it was just like very bad optics. Like, things are not going well for Democrats at the moment.
That doesn't look good at all.
Yeah, fist bump is not better than a handshake. If anything, it makes you look friendlier with the guy than just a handshake. Like,
yeah. I don't know.
Although,
is that
the whole Saudi Arabia thing is there's a whole. Everyone's trying to re-engage with the Saudis now because of the oil crisis, and because they want the Saudis to play a role in the region. So the whole you're an autocrat who murdered a journalist. They're just going to overlook that now because it has to.
And they're like, Biden's going. He said he was going to hold him accountable, and now he's going back on it. I'm like, yeah, I get it. Like, but like,
you have to.
Turkey's
going
the
back
Americans
on it as well.
Sold their soul to this particular devil many decades ago. Like realpolitik, they need oil, and the Saudis have the oil, so they'll do whatever they need to fucking do. Like,
they want to build a Middle East sort of like coalition, I guess, which includes the Saudis, potentially Israel, Turkey was like, because it was a Turkish journalist that died, so Turkey was like not friends with the Saudis for a while, and then the other day they rolled out the red carpet for Erdogan. It was like a whole like, the Saudis were like, no, if you're coming to us, we need to make sure that it looks like you're adopting us back as friends, which Erdogan must have agreed to. But anyway,
it's
the Saudi things are complicated.
Everyone has a price. It seems.
But anyway, we should probably just keep punching along because we're losing time now. But
I thought if we want to talk about just some crazy bullshit and bring it more closer to home, just for maybe the last sort of story before we get to this week's sort of stuff, given we're about halfway through.
Yes, let's.
Story about crossbenchers in Parliament in Australia. So I don't know about you guys, but I didn't know this before this past week. And I saw it in an actual newspaper. I haven't sort of seen this. I haven't seen it hitting the Twitter sphere online, at least not in my circles, because
Tom, or did you steal it from someone else?
No, it's just I was out of town recently and there was a newspaper in front of me and I was just flicking through it. So there's a rule, right, in Australian Parliament, it seems, where MPs aren't allowed to contribute to legislation debates in Parliament until they've at least had their maiden speech, which isn't really an issue for, I guess, MPs who have been re-elected. They had their maiden speeches yonks ago, or, people who have already had their maiden speeches, they don't have to make new ones. But after the last federal election here in Australia, where we had not only the government flip from the Liberal Party to the Labor Party, but also like quite a swing away from the Liberal Party and lots more seats going to Labor and a lot of independents as well, there are 35 new MPs into this into the next government that is going, hasn't even had its first sitting. I think their first sitting is coming up soon. They return on July 26th, so this upcoming Tuesday at time of recording. So 35 new MPs, and now a maiden speech from an MP is where they're given 20 to 25 minutes just to speak about what they're about to Parliament. So someone at, I think this was from the Sydney Morning Herald, this article, crunched the numbers, and it would take 15 hours to hear all those speeches. So 15 hours of Parliament time.
At least.
And normally you'd be like, oh, wow, geez, that's a boring, 15 hours for them. Oh, man, that'd suck. But the reason this has sort of come into the news is because the new Labor government is really keen to table and legislate their climate change policy, which has, had a fair decent amount of criticism leveled at it for not being ambitious enough from, say, a lot of these independents, like the Teal independents and all that sort of stuff being voted in the last election. And they're not allowed to participate in debating this upcoming legislation until they've had their maiden speech. So a lot of crossbenchers are very angry just about being, in their words, gagged over this policy. Like, they can't participate in saying that this isn't ambitious enough. These targets aren't ambitious enough. And for us, I don't know, the reason that this sort of stuck out at me and made me really grumpy is that us as voters if we voted for our independent candidate or for a different candidate just because like climate change was something that we were very passionate about. Like, for example, one of these teal independents won in my electorate. So my representative can't have her say in policy until she's had her maiden speech.
It does feel profoundly undemocratic, doesn't it?
It really does. And it's clearly one of those, we were discussing this before the show, that, you know, all these rules kind of get put in place of where it's like, well, no, you kind of want to have someone's maiden speech to know what they're about, all that sort of stuff. Especially because if we all remember Fraser Anning's maiden speech, where he made just some casual Nazi references, you really want to know what an MP's kind of all about, right? So it's clearly just a bureaucratic rule that was established in a sense where you'd think, well, obviously we won't table anything important until everyone's had their maiden speeches and then they can all participate in the debate. But no, then that is working on the proviso that everyone has integrity and doesn't want to rush anything through, which, as we've seen from the past, you know, forever of Western democracy, isn't the case.
I mean, from Labor's perspective, I guess they want to be seen to be
doing action, right?
Doing things. First 100 days, you rada. Let's have some stuff pass through Parliament. It is back. So the first sitting is as of
July 26th. So Tuesday.
Yeah. So I mean, it's unclear exactly what Labor will do and how it'll play out because it will have to go to the Senate.
It's clear to me that they're wanting to push this through without the input of the Teal Independents, which they know will want to push them further than they are willing to go on climate change. Like because I don't know what the other explanation could be for it.
Yeah, because Labor only just scraped through with a majority, right? Like it was looking like this was going to be a minority government where they would have had to have appealed to these people to get votes. They've just missed that, but so they know that they can do their agenda in their own right. And if they can do it without there being a whole bunch of televised debate footage of these people saying this isn't ambitious enough, then they're probably happier about that, right?
So much the better, yeah.
Yeah, it's just fucked. Like,
it'll be interesting to see if they do let them have the debate before the
maiden speeches
before they do the debate.
Well, yeah, I mean,
it'll be interesting, sort of little.
I guess it depends when they table it. Like, I mean, if it's first on the agenda on Tuesday, then they can't, right?
Arguably, there are some other bits and pieces that might be a bit more pressing in regards to the economy and the pandemic. A few other things that are happening at the moment, so that might shift a little bit. But yeah, I guess we'll see next week.
My impression of this Labor government is they do the right thing eventually, after pressure, after they've tried all the wrong things and that hasn't worked for them. There's a couple of news stories where they look like shitheads, like the pandemic payments was a good example of this, where people like, hey, we're asking people to stay home from work because they're sick with COVID, but there's a bunch of casual workers and part-timers that don't have sick leave, and you're asking them to stay home and sacrifice income. So we don't want people having to choose between going into work sick with COVID or having income. So why don't you just keep the current pandemic payments of whatever, it's a one-off $750 payment. Why don't we just keep that going for another 3 months? And then the Labor government was like, okay.
Well, yeah, I think at first they were kind of like, oh, well, you know, like the Liberal government ended that already that was already set to end on June 30, and so it just did. So we've inherited that from the previous government. This is a situation we've inherited.
Okay, but you could just fix it.
And you know what? Yeah, exactly right. I've been thinking with this government, I know there's a thing of like, there is a whole bunch of shit that is left over from a previous government that you do inherit as a new government, and there's a period where you can be saying that. But you know what? I want to cut it short for these cunts. You can do something about it. You can say like, and they did, right? Like, you know, they can just go, all right, now we've reinstated them. What was really galling was to see the opposition, who were the people who legislated that the payments should have ended when exactly they did end, and it went perfectly to plan as they wanted it, saying, you got to bring that back. It's fucked that you're not. Shut up.
Professional Liberals are like professional opposition members. It's like when they're legislating, when they're in power, it's like the dog that caught the car. They don't know what to do with it. But when they're in opposition, they know exactly what to do. The other guy, bad. The other guy, bad. Everything they do is bad. Their parents are bad. They come from bad people. They make bad decisions, and they're just bad at heart. That's all they know how to do, is to, white ant and shit on the other people from the opposition bench. That's what they're good at.
Which is why I appreciate it.
Go ahead. Just with the policy changes. So, middle of June, in Victoria at least, the middle of June was like probably the lowest COVID numbers we've had for a while. We've just coming down off 2 waves, but then within the space of 3 weeks, we're back up to levels that are,
and maybe not even right in case numbers and stuff, but hospitalizations, are going through the roof, and deaths and all that sort of stuff.
So, I mean, it's plans and government policy sometimes aren't as agile as we'd like them to be, but
that's what I'm saying. Labor does the thing after they've tried all the other options first. And it just shows, like, I think people think, or maybe my mum thinks, or people think that it's a Labor government, so I'm just going to be like, fuck yeah, Labor, everything they do is ace and they never do anything wrong. It's like, no, that's what you do. I'm still pushing them further on what it is I want them to do. So when they do corrupt, dumb, incorrect things, I call them out on it as well. I don't be like, well, that's my guy. I'm going to, everything they do is always aces 10 regardless. Like, it's not like that. If the Labor government isn't progressive enough on climate change, we need to keep pushing them on climate change, using venues like this, using direct activism, using writing to your legislators. There's all sorts of things that need to keep happening in order for us to get what we want, because left to their own devices, Labor's, well, I don't think it's even arguable that they're just centrists. Like,
George, it's an interesting fact you've just raised all that, because funny story, there's been a report that's come out this week.
I set you up for this. This is me being a professional. So,
this week's news, 40 minutes in.
40 minutes in. Believe it or not, Victoria has an ICAC sort of situation going on.
Ours is even better. It's an Ibac. It's one letter earlier. It's an earlier letter. It's even B is better than C.
There's also a place called the Centre for Public Integrity, a few other different things that we've got here, basically to try and sort of, keep politicians on the straight and narrow.
Keep the bastards honest.
But yes, they've released a report this week, basically showing that. And we've talked about it previously, that there's the Victorian Labor is broken. So it's the state politics Labor we're talking about here.
But the difference is that the only party that's more broken than Victorian Labor is the Victorian
Liberal. Yeah.
So it's like it really is that South Park, turd and a
douche and a turd sandwich.
Douche and a turd sandwich. It really is.
Yeah.
So they've found that basically branch stacking is pretty rife in Victoria. They've found that there's a bunch of nepotism, where you've got, like, for instance, parliamentarians employing politics, their families.
Branch stacking and nepotism. Never heard of that.
Political staff and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Just absolute, like
Is in rife with
corruption.
Rife with either at worst corruption, at best some dodgy behavior.
And they've been sort of following this up now for a couple of years, and there's definitely been reports into it. Like, for instance, we've spoken about it in the past, where the Federal Labor Party actually had to sort of take over the control of the Victorian Labor Party.
All right, kids, if you can't play with the fire truck, nobody gets to have it. If you can't play well, you don't play at all.
So obviously this comes out. And
actually, that's actually a hilarious analogy, because the CFA was something was something that they were disagreeing about. That's actually fucking hilarious. I'm a genius.
Yeah, see, I thought that was intentional, and then you mentioned it, so I was like, oh, that was a complete accident. So like, you could have had me up high, George. Respect for the good gag, but nah, you know what? It's still there. It was fucking funny.
It was pretty good.
It was pretty
good. There's a previous report that came out a couple of years ago called the Red Shirts Report in 2018, and that was talking about
and Star Trek fans went like, no, that's not what it was about.
It is so funny the amount of people that are completely politically disengaged, but who watch Sky News and know all about the red shirt scandal. Like, they can't tell you anything about Victorian Labor's current policies, but they know intimate details about the timeline of the fucking red shirt scandal. Like, let me tell you the fucking corruption, mate. It's like, also, what is the leader of the Liberal Party's name currently? And they're like, Michael O'Brien. It's like, wrong. It's Matthew Guy again. Michael Guy, Guy Matthews, Guy French, Guy Sebastian.
So that was an ombudsman report, which found that taxpayer funds were being used to pay electorate officers, and nothing changed since that report. They were still doing it.
Nothing matters.
naturally.
Nothing matters.
The
Okay.
police dropped their investigation into the matter. So
Yeah.
basically, Dan Andrews has come out and said, we're going to adopt all the recommendations. There's 21, I believe, recommendations. And they're going to go further by introducing legislation to restrict political parties in the state from receiving public funding unless they meet a set of criteria designed to stamp out corrupt behaviour.
One of my favorite recommendations are like all payments taken for like being a member of a political party need to be taken with a tracked method. I was like, great. What was the system before that? Where it's just bags of cash, I guess.
Was it literally cash in envelopes?
Yes, quite literally. There have been stories that have come out where it was like literal bags of cash. Like
I've been saying this for like 10 years.
Yes, you have.
Like 7 years. We need to reform branch level politics in this country.
Not consistently right about a lot of things, but branch level politics in Victoria is definitely one of them.
In Victoria, the whole country.
Well,
There's no point having Victoria having a certain model and then Queensland are just fucking flipping out 50s under the desk.
Oh, like Queensland has been like famously corrupt for many years.
WA just pulls $100 notes out of the ground.
We need federal legislation. I mean, it probably doesn't work like this because of the way the federation works, but there needs to be consistent legislation across all states where branches are engaging in consistent behaviour. And there also has to be another aspect to it where the public are engaged with branch level politics. If you want to really engage with your community and have a true representative democracy, you can't just have a candidate who pops up and is parachuted in and voted on by a couple of right-wing nut jobs who sit in it, or left-wing nut jobs, whatever it may be.
Yeah, you can't just parachute Christina Keneally into a seat and go, this is your one chance every 3 years to engage with democracy. Vote for this fake candidate that we've just stood up in the seat that she doesn't belong in. Like,
if you want to have representative democracy, get the community engaged. Get them on the membership list. Fuck, if you want to be a member of 3 different parties, then do so. It may not work for everyone, but if that's the case, if that means you truly get buy-in to the kind of candidates you want to see put on the table, then so be it. Because that way the person is from the community. They're representing the values or the
grassroots corruption.
Grassroots corruption, yeah.
COUNT count face. I see what he's doing there. Says nothing wrong with corruption. It's only wrong when we, the people, can't be involved in their corruption. Everybody wants a little taste. It's just a little enough to wet my beak.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh yeah. I've been saying for weeks, where's the craft anymore?
Where's the art?
Like, where's the artistry in the corruption? It's all just so brazen and lazy nowadays.
That's the real crime. Is a little bit of artistry. Set up a fake cricket league, like something. You got to put a bit of heart into it.
Yeah, but also it's just another
just played into the whole Dan Andrews.
I was going to say it's one of those things of like Dan. There's a lot of times to have defended you and all that sort of stuff with pandemic policy and like making the tough decisions and making the unpopular decisions, but shit like this, bro, come on.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
This is why you need to have these kind of
ICAC.
At a federal level as well, because
so if this is the shit that's going on at the state level, which it is, and and there is an ICAC which has teeth and like can catch people out and make recommendations and change the way that things are done. If you think this is happening on the state level, which we know it is, you think it's not happening on a federal level where there's no body in place whatsoever to have accountability? Like, of course, it's happening on another level of magnitude at the federal level where the budgets are 10 times what they are on the state level.
Sure. I've referred the matter to the secretary of my department, who's going to look into it, and definitely, who's also a political appointee, but definitely will give it due diligence and oversight, and definitely deliver a fair outcome.
Mm-hmm. I'm just waiting for the results of the inquiry. So,
fuck. Oh yeah. Sorry, Tom. What were you going to say? Commented or something, or no?
Oh no. We read through the comment. That was just before. No, I was just going to say. I've lost the segue. It was going to be a really great segue into Rio Tinto.
Well, but before we go there, do you think this is enough to bring down the Andrews government? Like, do you think this could, or it
when's
could
the
hurt his
election?
chances coming up in the next election, maybe? Or
It'd probably have an impact in its it's more recent fuel to the fire rather than everyone just kind of when was the last time we really heard from Dan Andrews after hearing from him every fucking day throughout at least a year and a half with pandemic and lockdowns and all that sort of stuff? If the election had happened at the end of 2020 or the end of 2021, there's the real fire that a lot of people had. But now that it's been a while later,
I'm also getting the impression that
26th of November of this year.
Yeah.
All around there.
I'm also getting the impression that, with all of these cases surging, people saying we need to reintroduce mask mandates, we need to, maybe even lock down again. And it just seems like there's no appetite for that at the state political level. Like Dan Andrews is like, I've got an election to win in November. I'm not pissing anyone off.
Oh yeah. Well, there's that. And also I think they know, even though we've been out of lockdowns and fucking weak ass restrictions for months, I told you, I was on my way to a wedding the other weekend and we were stopped by a literal Nazi rally of people talking to lock Dan up and wake up fucking sheeple and don't get the vaccine. I'm like, still? You can work now.
Yeah, you can.
There's nothing
do whatever
stopping you.
You can do whatever you want now. Why are you spending your weekends doing this?
Shit. You can go to the pub now.
Yeah.
You could be in the pub rather than fucking on Flinders Street Bridge being cunts.
So I do think there is a significant, I think, if you ask me, what is he going to win the next election? I think probably because he's got universal name ID. As you said, we saw him on our TV all day, every day for hours at a time for months. And, I asked my mum, who's a Liberal voter, who the leader of the Victorian Liberals was. She got there, but it took a second. So the fact that Matthew Guy, I saw they announced some policy. They're like, we're going to be, whatever it was, carbon neutral by 2050. And it's that's already something that the Andrews government has legislated. That is already a policy that they just seem like a bunch of useless fucking goons.
And also them saying they need to end the state of emergency. It's the state of emergency ended in December.
It's over. It's been over for a while.
It's already been over. We're no longer in the state of emergency.
It's like they're trying to capitalize. They've just realized, we need to get our stuff sorted and capitalize on,
and have to make shit up to try and stir up.
No, but they're looking at what have we got? The bin of stuff, the bin of ideas of things that they could have.
A bin is a perfect vessel for that analogy. By the way,
pulling stuff out.
It's where they all belong.
A bin or an asshole, perhaps. They really are just powerfully weapons grade useless. So I do think that given the lack of name ID for Matthew Guy or Guy Matthew or Michael Guy or Guy Michael, I do think that Labor will probably get in again. As to whether they should, it's looking dicier now than it has in the past, right?
Yeah, well, no, the only Vic Liberals I can name are Matthew Guy and Tim Donut Dick Smith, who crashed into someone's house while pissed. So,
he quit, didn't he?
What a team! No, I think he's still.
I think he's a backbencher.
Kicked out. I thought he got kicked out.
No, I don't think so.
He resigned from the cabinet, but he's still in the ministry.
I keep hearing from him, and I think
Bernie Flynn. It's Bernie Finn. Sorry.
The point is the Victorian Liberals, couldn't drive a fucking clown car, let alone a government. So it's
Finn is now the Victorian leader of the Democratic Labor Party.
I do love that we've got Tim Smith. Sorry, I just looked up just to make sure he was still a current MP, and he has Google reviews. He has an average of 2 stars.
I'm surprised he got 2.
Amazing. Wow, we can leave Google reviews on our I guess there's an address for their office, right? So it's a business on Google Maps.
It's a business, yeah.
That's wow, that's bad to discover. I shouldn't have put that out into the world. I said that.
I know what I'm doing this afternoon.
Yeah. All right, so I guess whirlwind to maybe the more important story of the last 2 that we have left. Rio Tinto, speaking of settling consequences. I can't remember what the lead that I had earlier was, but fuck you guys. We're jumping into it anyway. So Rio Tinto has agreed to pay the ATO an additional $613 million to settle some disputes over financing arrangements and marketing hubs in Singapore. So I'm not fully across kind of what the sort of dodgy dealings they had sort of here were. If either of you guys do. Remember, I don't understand the funny money, as I've said in previous things. I think $1 trillion coin can solve all our problems. So,
well,
So
no,
basically,
yeah. Sorry, go on.
So basically, they had a marketing hub in Singapore which sells iron ore and aluminium on behalf of the group.
okay.
And the bills date back like 2010. Similar hubs are used by BHP and other miners, but their use became controversial in Australia due to a crackdown from the ATO on multinational corporations.
My understanding is that the reason that these hubs exist is to direct the flow of revenues into geographies that are more tax friendly. Correct? Like,
yeah, basically.
That wouldn't surprise me.
yeah, is any of that remotely surprising to anyone? It's
No.
like, you won't believe this. Large multinational corporations are doing their best to avoid paying tax. That's weird.
So actually, this is on top of an existing $378 million. They've had to previously pay over the same dispute, which brings up the total revenue to about $1 billion worth of tax.
I love that multinational corporations have the opportunity to like negotiate their tax bill. Individual citizens don't get that right. The ATO says, mate, you got to give us half a hunch. And you go, that's what the tax office says. And I got to do that or I go to jail. Whereas if you're an executive at Rio Tinto, you get to go, let's negotiate and see what tax you want. 1.2 billion. We're arguing for 800 million. We'll settle at $1 billion. It's like, shouldn't you have to pay all the tax that you were supposed to have fucking paid the first time round and then a penalty?
Yeah,
like
we do.
Like a human being. But no. If you're a large corporation, you get to come to the table and have lots of board meetings and come to an agreeable decision. I don't know how that's, and probably like if I
rock up to the ATO,
if they're supposed to pay the amount of tax that they were supposed to pay, it probably would have been well in excess of this. But they're like,
if I rock up to the ATO in a suit with a nice watch, can I just swindle down my tax bill? If I go, let's sit in a boardroom, and I'll just say, can I pay less tax? Is that how it works?
I think so, basically.
Like, what's the difference?
Most middle incomers in Australia will probably get a tax refund, I believe, this year, and they have done for the last number of years.
Yeah, but you're still paying tax. You still what that means is the government's taxed you more throughout the year than you actually owe. So that you've just given a little tax-free loan to the government of a couple of $1,000, and you get some money back after June 30, and you go, oh, I got free money. It's like, no, bro, what that means is that the government took too much of your money and they were just fucking hanging on to it for you for a year. Like,
they
were like, oh, tax refund, let's buy a flat screen. Like,
yeah, you didn't get free money. It's more like you should have had this money earlier.
The whole time. It was your money.
Whoopsie daisies. Instead of lowering the tax percentage to maybe make that more in line so we don't have to be giving you refunds every year. No, we'll just keep hanging on to your money and then randomly throw it back at you.
Or just have a tax system which doesn't rely on claims and loopholes and all the sort of bullshit that all these extra hoops that people with resources can do because they can hire tax firms to exploit these resources to get more tax back. Why don't we just have a slightly lower tax rate and it's flat and there's no exceptions? Why don't we have that? Because then the people at the top would actually be paying a much higher effective rate of tax. That's why.
Yeah.
Or you could do what Nonna did and just put it under the bed.
The banks, so they're no good.
Well, speaking of allegedly no good,
I don't know
wrapping this out.
So sorry, just on that. I don't know if I ever told you guys this. My nonno, when he passed away, my grandfather on the Italian side, I can tell this.
Pardon my really white ignorance. Is that the granddad word?
Nonno is.
I've heard like nonna, or the people talking about my nonna and all that sort of stuff, but I didn't know the grandfather term. Cool, there we go. I learned something.
Here's a quick little explainer. Nonno is grandfather, nonna is grandmother for Italians, and for the Greeks, it's papu is grandfather and yaya is grandmother. So there we go. We got a little ethnic refresher course for you there.
Wonderful.
But when my grandfather, my nonno, passed away, he literally had like cash in the mattress. And not that much cash, but like some cash in the mattress and a shotgun behind the fridge, which he was definitely not allowed to have. I think it was like a sawn-off shotgun, which is like the most Sicilian, kind of.
Was more ready for the apocalypse than I am now.
She was ready.
And you have a go bag.
I have a go bag.
But wait.
A shotgun.
Behind the fridge?
Which I could easily, as a child, access. I remember it being there next to the fridge, and I was like, what is that? And then years later, I found out it was a fucking shotgun.
Right, so this isn't a fridge that's in a nook where you kind of have to hug the fridge and awkwardly squeeze it out when someone's robbing your house if you need it.
Yeah, no, it was sort of in an area and you'd have to reach in there to grab it. So it wasn't easily accessible, but easily enough for a child.
Yeah, I was good, and way
Very
too
illegal.
accessible probably for many Australian laws.
Yes. Yeah, they had to be my uncle had to when he passed away and discovered the shotgun, my uncle had to call the police and be like, hey, I have a gun in.
I need to surrender.
Go into, and then you go into the police station, you go, in my car, you start with in my car, there is a gun. Well, let's go out to the parking lot so you can retrieve this illegal gun from my car in the parking lot. It was a whole ordeal. I had to be turned over like it was a nuclear bomb or something. But
yeah, that's wow. I think I saw an article of that not recently, but at some point that was entitled what to do if you find out a deceased family member has a firearm.
Yeah, that was that article was for me.
What to do with it? How to dispose of
the cop shop and just be like, hey guys,
Adam, you will get crash tackled to the ground.
That's
If you just walk in with a gun being like, I have a shotgun I need to return, they'll be like, get on the ground. Beanbag rounds. I know, in Australia, beanbag rounds in the chest of a taser. In the States, you would get shot.
Yes. You call ahead.
From Kmart.
You call ahead, you make an appointment. It's a very awkward appointment setting. You turn up, you tell them it's in the car, they come and get it.
Car park thing's also really weird as well. It's come outside to my car, I'll open the boot, promise I won't shove you in it and kidnap you. All the, I don't know, it just sounds really dodgy anyway, but there's no kind of
drugs are in the backseat.
Yeah, there's no kind of easy way to dispose of a firearm, really, is there? But George, I don't know, thanks to CERN, maybe there was a reality where your granddad didn't have a gun behind the fridge, and now there was one at some point. Probably not, though, because he probably put it there before they turned on the Hadron Collider. So this is the next topic that we're talking about. Very briefly, right here at the end, just some light fun, where people on TikTok have a crazy conspiracy where they think that CERN's Large Hadron Collider is changing the very fabric of reality, when really it's a psychological phenomenon called the Mandela effect. Now, the Mandela effect, to really simplify it, is when people en masse recollection of an event or thing is challenged. That we all kind of collectively agree. There was an example in here where we always, you always thought of the product double stuff Oreos. People would call them double stuffed Oreos, to the point where we all think they're called double stuffed Oreos. And then you see a package of them where it says double stuff Oreos and you're like, what? I could swear they were called double stuffed. And you're even imagining for yourself, you've seen packaging with the words double stuffed on it, but you haven't. You're just convincing yourself that you have, and you feel like maybe reality has changed and now the packaging of Oreos has changed over. And the reason this has kind of come out a bit more is people have just heard that the Large Hadron Collider at CERN, smashing particles together, maybe creating teeny-weeny black holes with the effort to kind of prove the idea of there being alternate timelines or realities just in the theoretical physics sense exist, that they think, what if doing that has smashed two realities together, and now the reality where it's double stuff Oreos is now this reality, and we did previously think they were double stuffed Oreos. And it's
two things. I love the creativity. Okay. Second of all, if this was a show with J.K. Simmons, I would absolutely watch it.
Yeah, this is on Amazon. I love these kinds of conspiracy theories. These are the fun ones.
Now, but three, can I just say, the kids are not all right. Because, it's got to be the dumbest fucking possible conspiracy theory. It's just obviously, someone's just said to you, double stuffed Oreos, and you thought that's what they were called, but you never checked why, because why would you go and check the original packaging? It's just a misnomer. It's a thing that when everyone, when Sarah Palin said, I can see Russia from my house, except Sarah Palin didn't say that, it was Tina Fey. And it was just a thing. It's a flaw in human psychology that it's not just you because it's happened to everyone. We've all just kind of like vaguely misremembered a thing or like didn't have the right information in the first place, and it's just made its way into the zeitgeist, and we never thought to check it and look further.
Yeah,
that's it. It doesn't preclude, it doesn't presuppose that you would need black holes to alter reality. It's just like you Zoomers, everyone acts like the Zoomers are so fucking smart, but they're just idiots who know how to use smartphones better than we do. Like, you're the same idiots as us.
Yeah, and I think there's
because people listen to them. Whereas
I think it's the part that makes it interesting is that because that the Mandela effect in and of itself is just quite an amazing psychological phenomenon.
Why is it called the Mandela effect?
I believe it refers to like an example of the Mandela effect from before I guess it got its name was the amount of people who were like, didn't Nelson Mandela die in prison in the 80s? And there are people and that was believed to such a scale that when people are like, no, well, he's dead now, but we're like, no, he's still alive. He only just died today or whenever that was. People were like, what? No, that's not true. I could distinctly remember him dying in the 80s, but you've just convinced yourself that you have. So I think they probably named after them, like you have the Streisand effect being named after Barbara Streisand.
Now, I know that Nelson Mandela didn't die in prison because he came and spoke at my high school.
Yes, we were talking about that this morning, which is wild.
Which is just, that's how you know you go to an elite private boys' school is when they get one of the bastards of free thought and democracy to come and speak at a school assembly, and you're just like, nah, whatever. That's a Tuesday.
But I was a bit blown away by this article that we're using here from Vice about CERN, the Hadron Collider and the Mandela effect and this whole phenomena, because it pointed out that I made a Mandela effect realization literally reading this, because earlier this week I told someone who had been said to look like the Monopoly Man that they needed to get a monocle in order to fulfill the bit. And this article explicitly mentions that the Monopoly Man never wore a monocle. As an example of, like, a Mandela effect example is people believe he wore a monocle. I was like,
well, look, I know.
What? And I looked it up, and he doesn't.
I know we've talked about a lot of shocking things on the podcast, but I think that might be the most shocking to date. I think that might be that's earth-shattering as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. It's changing the fabric of reality.
Other good one is the Looney Tunes. People, I was always corrected.
There
on
are
this.
none. There are no Looney Tunes.
Can you ask me the thing and see if I can recall? Like,
test him.
Can you test me on it? See what I say.
What's the name of the cartoon with Bugs Bunny and all that?
Oh, the Looney Tunes.
Correct. But people sometimes called me up on that because they were like, no, they're cartoons. It's the Looney Tunes, Tom. They always say it in America, the Looney Tunes. I'm like, yeah, because in America they say tune as tune, but it is in the logo TUNES.
Right, it's not TOONS, is it?
Correct, but a lot of people believe it is. And so then you point out that it's the Looney Tunes, and they're like, what? No, I could swear it's the Looney Tunes because they're cartoons, and I've seen it. I've seen it. I've seen the graphic. I've seen it. It's like, you never have. And that's the Mandela effect.
Isn't some of this just the American education system is exceptionally weak in a lot of regards, and maybe just people have not learned things correctly the first time?
Maybe, but from my perspective, I guess that's an Australian thingy because, people are like, no, they're the Looney Tunes. Like, they hear it as tunes because it's an American program and the word tune is said as tune. And then it just works from there. But it's an example of how the Mandela effect can kick in without the need of building a gigantic circle under Europe to smash some particles together. You don't need a giant hadron collider to make people believe that the fabric of reality has changed around a very old cartoon. It can just happen.
I love how all these people are saying, like, global warming, COVID, global financial crisis, carbon in the atmosphere is at 420 parts per million, 420, blaze it, nice. And
literally blaze eventually.
You know what is the central problem undergirding all of these things that are happening in the world? The terrible news. It's the Large Hadron Collider. That's the problem. It's not right-wing authoritarianism in the guise of populism sweeping across the world. It's not anti-democratic sentiment, people try to overthrow democracy. It's not the crumbling of our national infrastructure, all of our various institutions, education. It's none of that. It's not the economy falling to shreds, inflation. You know what it is? It's that big science project in Switzerland.
The other thing is so the fabric of reality is fundamentally changed because of the part. Like, if you would follow that logic, so why is it?
So why do we remember?
The one thing that changed was the label on an Oreo.
It was the Oreo thing. Everything else is basically fine.
Well, that's where you get into some. Hey, this is a flashback, but you get into some Bioshock Infinite sort of stuff with alternate realities and coming in of one and out of the other, that our brains can't actually handle the fact that we've swapped realities, and we protect ourselves from it and accept everything else seems to be the same. You just maybe notice something really little like that.
Can I just say,
really small like that?
I now have an extra arm is
only if there was a parallel universe where you have an extra arm, and then you might be the you from that other universe now in our universe. And you always thought you had that extra arm.
Can I just say, I think we've reached peak 3 white guys on a podcast. The only thing that's missing is Joe Rogan
now?
and some DMT. That's the only thing that's missing from this fucking discussion. It's whoa, man, that's fucking crazy, bro.
Yeah, I mean, what we're missing is being bald, jacked, and encouraging diets that'll make us shit ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and also going for 3 fucking hours.
Nah, man, the antler meat. It's the fucking
talking to dickheads.
Nah, bro, it's the fucking the veal. It's so pure, man. It's a deep, dark red meat. It's got so many fucking nutrients in it, man. And I just ate meat for 4 weeks, nothing but meat. And I gotta tell you, bro, I feel fucking fantastic, man.
Maybe I can only hope for Joe Rogan's sake that the Hadron Collider smashes us against a parallel universe where taking ivermectin was a good idea. On that note, we have been and always will be Unnatural Selection. Sorry, I'm used to ending the show while you've been away. Good. We have been Unnatural Selection. You can check out all that we do and all our newsy type stuff and things and past episodes at unnaturalshow.com. And you can follow us on all the social medias that have, do, or ever will exist at Unnatural Show. That includes Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, working on that MySpace, YouTube, Twitch is another thing that we do. But you can follow me on Twitter at Tom D. Heath.
You can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Been doing some TikToks at George Tsipos.
You have. I've seen them. They're very good.
Thank you.
You can follow me to the bus stop, or you can follow me on Instagram at AEC Doreen.
Go.
You do it. You do it. I haven't got my one wasn't very good, so I insist.
Well, you can follow us to the other dimensions where all our Oreos will be stuffed at least doubly.
Yeah, no, that was better than mine. Thanks for listening, guys. Love your faces. We'll see you next week.
When they say double stuff, is it double the white stuff in the middle? It's a double cream situation?
Yeah. I believe so, yes.
Right.
Yeah. But it's stuffed with...
So it could be in an alternate universe, they just use twice as much of the stuffing and it's just a single stuffed Oreo from another dimension. And stop recording.